top 5 guns used in Counter-Strike. This is a gun everybody pretty much picked. And I would go to that long hallway and just take out noobs one by one. Welcome back to Class Firearms, guys. Kai here, and today we're going to talk about the top 5 guns used in the video game Counter-Strike. Now, there are 3 versions of these games: Counter-Strike 1.6, Counter-Strike Source, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, otherwise known as Counter-Strike Go. And the first one was released in 2000, and the Source in 2004, and the Global Offensive is 2012. Now, if you're into video games now, or if you ever were, you should know about the Counter-Strike Enterprise. They're absolutely one of the most iconic games out there, like the Call of Duty and the Minecraft, right? They're just very, very big, and to this day, they're dominating out there. Now, the first one, the 1.6, I thought it was amazing when it first came out. The graphics were obviously horrible, the mechanics were horrible. At that time, it was really good. Then in 2004, when Source came out, obviously it was way, way better. Same maps and all that. And the Global Offensive completely changed the game, the mechanics, and the even just utilizing the guns, the way the guns looked, completely changed, much, much better. Now, I'm very experienced with Counter-Strike 1.6 and Source. I even owned a server with the 1.6 called the Goodfellas. We had a lot of fun. It was 24/7. It was always packed. And I moved on to Counter-Strike Source, continued to dominate. Then I decided to stop playing the game because I realized that I was spending too much time, because the game was a lot of fun, but I was being really not so productive. Anyways, with that being said, we're going to talk about the top 5 guns used in these video games, and this is going to be my personal list, not necessarily the best guns in the game. For me, what I use in the game, so it's going to be very subjective. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts and what is your top 5 list. With that being said, let's dive right into it. And number 5. Number 5 is going to be Sty AG. Now, in the game, this was not the most popular. That's why it is number 5. But it was still pretty good, and it had a pretty good stopping power. Sometimes, you know, you couldn't really afford, or you couldn't really get the M4s. Some of the servers would limit them, so you'd have to pick something else. And I would generally pick the Sty AG. And surprisingly, even though it's chambered in 5.56, it had more recoil in the game than the M4 that's used in the game. So it's kind of interesting, but it was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. In the first game, 1.6, and also Source, it had that built-in glass on it, which looked pretty cool. And in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Counter-Strike Go, which later on in 2023 turned to Counter-Strike 2, which I don't care about that. I know it as Go. I like it as Go, so I'm going to go ahead and refer it as Counter-Strike Go, Global Offensive. It had the ACOG, which is kind of illustrated here. It looked pretty cool. It had this foregrip. You could just get on there and actually engage with targets. It kind of gave you a slight magnification, which kind of helped. Again, it wasn't all that accurate, but it had decent stopping power. I liked it. I sometimes used it. Therefore, it is on my list. So let's move on to number 4. And number 4 is going to be, of course, Desert Eagle 50 caliber, or otherwise known as Deagle. Now, this is a gun everybody pretty much picked. You get 7-round capacity, but at times if you get a little headshot, 1 shot, 1 kill, but generally 2 or 3 shots, the person will be down. It was fantastic. Everybody had a primary gun, and they had the Deagle. So I was one of those guys, and I have a lot of in the game bodies stacked with Deagle, so it definitely deserves to be on this list. So it is my number 4. Let's move on to number 3. And number 3 is going to be, of course, the M4. Now, this was only available for Counter-Strike folks over there. So if you were a terrorist in the game, you'd have to kill one of the Counter-Strikes to pick this one up, because you couldn't buy it. You had something else, which we're going to talk about later. Now, this had fantastic accuracy. It's one of the main guns pretty much almost every player picked. And you had the option to suppress this thing. If you press right click on the mouse, it immediately brings this up and screws in a suppressor, and you're good to go. Nice and quiet. Accuracy wise, I thought I was more accurate when it was suppressed. I don't know if that was a placebo. It was one of those things that it was in my head, but it was pretty good. I really, really enjoyed this gun in the game, and it looked something very similar to this, minus the, I guess, muzzle device, because you really did suppress it in the game. The muzzle device was smaller. That's it. No, it had a carry handle. no sights, front sight gas block. That's it right here. One of the most iconic guns inside the game. So let's move on to number 2. Well, I guess before I move on to my number 2, now there's another M4 here, and you guys are gonna be like, what is this? Well, I'm an old guy here, so I played the 1.6 and also the Source a little bit, tiny little bit Global Offensive, and that's it, and I gave up because it was taking too much of my time. But the Global Offensive M4 looks something just like this, more modern, quad rail covers, and just multi-adjustable stock, and just something like this, no carry handle. So a little bit updated, and that's it. Just wanted to kind of squeeze this in because a lot of you folks are probably playing the Global Offensive, so you'll be able to relate to this.
Or 2 nowadays.
Or 2, exactly, which nobody cares about. So let's move on to number 2. And number 2 is going to be, of course, the AK, guys. You guessed it right, and that was a terrorist-style shooting because this was only available for terrorists in the game. So if you were a counter-terrorist, you kill one of the terrorists in the game, you could pick up his gun and go to town with this thing. Now, AK had, it had a really good stopping power. You really did. Like if you hit somebody a couple of times, they'd go down. However, it had accuracy problems because it would actually recoil more. So you weren't all that accurate. So you had to really control the burst. If you went full auto, good luck. Even if the guy was like 10 feet from you, he was just living. Like he wasn't going down. So you really had to kind of burst it in the game to be able to get some accurate hits, effective hits with the AK. It looked something just like this, even color-wise. The Zastava M70 here in my hand. It was probably although I'm a fan of M4, like AR platforms, I have to say this, in the game, the AK pretty much dominated the M4. So there it is, guys. It looked just like this in pretty much all of the Counter-Strike Enterprise. So let's move on to number 1. But before we do that, we're gonna talk about a quick honorable mention. Yeah, the honorable mention is gonna be the knife. Now, if you play that game, or the games, obviously, you know the importance of the knife. If you wanted to run fast, or you wanted to sneak up one of those enemies and knife him, which gave you a lot of street creds, right? If you knife somebody, that was a big deal. Sometimes you would even challenge somebody, like, hey, you know what? Drop your gun. If you're the last person left in the game, be like, you know what, meet me over here, let's just knife. And it was a lot of fun. So I figured in the game, the knife is so important. Although this is top 5 guns, the knife had to be in the video. So there it is, guys, our honorable mention. Thanks to Brandon. And number 1, you guys guessed it right. I'm sure you guessed it. The AWP, Arctic Warfare Police. That's what it stands for. I don't have it in front of me here, and I'm going to talk about this Sty SSG 08 in a second here. Now, the AWP in the game was absolutely the king. If you guys played, Counter-Strike, you know the Office map. Or, Dust 2, Office, Dust 1, those are the top 3 most popular maps. I liked playing at the Office, and I would go to that long hallway and just take out noobs one by one.
My hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting! I'm still getting the headshots! It's like boom, headshot! Boom, headshot! Boom, headshot!
Chambered in 338 in real life, in the game as well, because it was a really heavy-hitting weapon system, and everybody used it. It was so popular, the server owners actually would limit it in a lot of servers. Like Counter-Strikes would get 2 of them, and then the terrorists would get 2 of them. That's it. Or some of them, it literally says on the server name, no ops. So it is that big of a deal in the game. Now, there was also another weapon system right before. So there are 2 semi-automatic sniper rifles in the game, and there are 2 bolt actions. One of them is obviously the AWP, and the other one would be the Scout. Now, Scout wasn't all that popular. It was pretty good, pretty light. You could run with it. However, it wouldn't really have that one shot, one kill. You'd have to shoot somebody 2 or 3 times. Now, in the Global Offensive or Counter-Strike 2, the Scout was replaced with the Sty SSG 08, which we have over here. That's why we wanted to showcase this to you. This is chambered in 338. So theoretically, this would give the performance of the AWP. That's why we have it in front of us here. So although this specific gun is not the number 1, but it is as heavy hitting as the AWP. So that's about it. What do you guys think about my list, guys? I think, for me, if I really look at Counter-Strike as a whole, base my experience with all those folks who killed me in the game over the years and the guns that I use over the years to kill other folks, I would say this top 5 that I just displayed over here will be something very similar to your list, because they really are one of the most popular weapon systems. And I use them not because they were all that great effective. I use them because that's what everybody was using, and that's what I got really good with. That was it. Let me know your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, let us know any other video ideas in the comment section. Any other video games that you guys think is really popular that we should talk about their guns, let me know, and I'll read the comments and see what I can do. And always, guys,